Honestly, reading some of these confessions made me rethink my idea to do this in the first place, but some of them are juicy, some of them are crazy, and some of y'all just need serious professional help. But let's get into the mess of it all.
Very demure, very mindful.
Okay, bestie number 1 says, like most people born around 2001, KIK was my main form of communication with online friends during a couple of my early teen years. We already know KIK is a terrible, terrible place. I've talked about it before in videos, but it was literally just like
trash.
Adults who love little kids heaven. I can't say that word, but you know what I mean. Anyone that's been on the internet long enough knows KIK is infamous for how many creeps are on it, but at its prime, with the exception of a couple weirdos, it wasn't too different from any other messaging app. I might have to disagree with you on that one. I think it was always creepy. Some of the closest friends I have met are people on KIK and eventually met as an adult in person. But there's one person I hope I never meet.
What the hell is going on?
We first met through any other regular chat. We had common interests like gaming, anime, or cats, so him and I started messaging privately about those things pretty frequently. He'd ask me for life advice and I'd give him some to the best of my 13-year-old ability. Then things took a turn. I realized that despite us talking all of the time, he never shared anything personal. Red flag number 1. I never saw his face, knew what his age was, or what state he lived in. Aside from occasionally hearing his voice, he never let me in on anything. Shortly after I made that realization, he let me in on some of his favorite hobbies. At this point, when I was reading it, I was like, oh, okay, it's gonna be something fun, right? I was wrong.
Well?
Things like screaming at his mom, emotionally abusing his girlfriend, and then kidnapping his neighbor's cats and watching them panic from his window were all things he loved doing. What the actual fuck? Of course, I'd try and give him my best advice, telling him to stop or not hurt the people in his life, but what could I really do from that far away? Then one day, he told me he knew where I lived.
Girl, don't play.
I doubted him and laughed it off, saying, you're just trying to freak me out like your neighbors. But then he showed me he wasn't lying. My heart dropped when the Google Maps screenshot of my family house popped up in our chat. There was no mistaking it. It was a Google Street View picture of my mom's car parked in front of our home. I tried to act brave and tell him that wasn't where I lived, anything to not give him the satisfaction of freaking me out. I was a kid though and scared shitless, so after a couple minutes I blocked him and left the chat we were in together. Nothing ever happened, but for like at least a week I lived in fear of whether or not the sociopath I befriended on KIK would act on everything he learned about me. This person doesn't want any advice and I don't really have any to give. This is just terrible, and I feel like it just stresses the importance of whoever is watching this and has kids now to educate them about how the internet is a scary place. And when asked, is there anything else you'd like to say? She said, I love your videos and content. Just wanted to share this slightly creepy story. I think slightly creepy is a little bit of an understatement. It is very, very creepy.
It is scary.
But thank you so much for submitting and sharing. Let's move on to the next one. Hi, I'm gay. Hi. Me and my girlfriend moved out once before having to end up moving back home due to our shitty ass roommates, but that's another story for another time. But things with my mom had actually gotten bad again, and I'm super sorry to hear that. It's never easy growing up in an unstable environment overall. I'm actually writing this from a library, waiting for my girlfriend to get off so we can hang out before I stay with my aunt pending your advice. No pressure. We've always wanted to do bus/van life, but it's taking more time than we would like to admit. See, a good used bus is between 3 to 5K, and an apartment where I live is around the same price, you know, needing first, last, safety deposit, etc. My question is, should we just say fuck it and buy a bus, live in it while we fix it up, or just say fuck it and do apartment life? Thanks, love your content. I watch it while working out. Thank you for submitting this. And first of all, I want to wish you and your girlfriend the absolute best. And this person also wanted advice. I feel like I understand the rationale behind wanting to just pursue van life, because I feel like people on the internet make it look so glamorous and make it look so easy. However, a lot of the people who I follow that did van life or are currently doing van life, in my opinion, they're the people who are the most honest about their experience, and they tell you that although people are like, yeah, it costs you less in the long run, there's a lot that you have to deal with. You have to deal with a lot of upfront costs. Obviously, gas is a thing. You have to figure out where you're going to park. Me personally, if I were in your position, I personally would get an apartment. I would do that because that's a little bit more stability, a little bit more security. And if you decide that after that you still want to do van life, then definitely pursue that. But I would stay in a stable and safe environment where you know you can peacefully rest your head and properly plan out and build that out. I'm not sure where exactly you live, but I live in Canada. So it's August right now, but it gets a little bit colder. So that's going to be increased costs for gas. And then also you're going to have to figure out like your heating situation. And again, where you're going to park. I personally just think it makes sense to move into an apartment and save up and plan a little bit more for van life if that's what you really want to do. Then you can properly plan your build out, make sure everything is perfect before you move into it. I think it would be a little bit hectic trying to live in the van and also build it out. And then just because you mentioned you have a girlfriend, again, I'm not exactly sure where you live, but I know that it can be scary to be gay and do van life. You have to be very stealth. You kind of always have to be on guard because you never know when you are going to be attacked or if you are being targeted. You also have to think about like potential for tickets, potential for the van to get towed, where are you going to shower, how are you going to cook, how are you going to be safe. There's just a lot that I think needs to go into planning van life. I definitely, if that's what you want to do, that's what you and your girlfriend want to do, definitely save up for it. But I think that at this point in your life, also it seems like you're quite young, just getting an apartment seems like the best decision. That's the decision that I would make if I were in your shoes. But at the end of the day, only you know what you and your girlfriend truly want to do. But that's just my opinion. I hope that whatever you choose, it's safe, it's what is most fulfilling for you, and it makes you and your girlfriend the absolute happiest. I'm wishing you both the best. On to the next confession. When I was around 11 to 12 years old, I met a guy on an online game called Our World. I've never heard of these games that y'all be talking about, or a lot of these sites. It just makes me think that I was a little bit more sheltered than I thought I was. I fell in love with his personality, and we eventually moved our relationship over to KIK. Child. Where I catfished him with my older sister's pictures. Not a catfish confession, girl. Oh, this is juicy. We dated online for about 1.5 to 2 years. I didn't have a phone and only a tablet, so we barely got to hear each other's voices. But he sounded very quote-unquote mature for someone who was posing themselves as a 15-year-old. I feel like I know where this is going and I don't like it. I also never received quote-unquote live photos from him. About 7 to 8 months into the relationship, he found out that I was a catfish. I sent him real pics and we moved on with our relationship. Okay. Eventually we were breaking up because the relationship began getting toxic. I am now 23 years old in a relationship with a partner whom I share a 9-month-old son with. Congratulations on your beautiful little baby. And I still think about him and call the number he used 10 plus years ago.
How different that looks and how unsafe.
I still feel a connection to him, like he still thinks about me. Until just a couple of weeks ago when I looked his number up and I found out that he was a catfish also. And he was around his upper 40s, meaning that he was an upper 30-year-old man talking to a literal child.
Officer, right there.
He had pictures and there's quotes around the picture, so I'm assuming that you mean intimate pictures of me. I'm disgusted knowing that there's a grown-ass married man, potentially with kids, who possibly still has images of 12-year-old me. They don't want any advice. And when I asked, is there anything else you'd like to say? They said, love your videos. The giggle with the hand over the mouth be killing me. Thank you. And thank you for your confession. Fingers crossed, this man does not have any kids. He sounds disgusting. And I'm sorry that you were in this situation. Wishing you and your little beautiful family the absolute best. What a fucked up thing to catfish and then you end up getting catfished by a creep. Lord have mercy. Not even catfish producers could make this stuff up. Our next, this is advice, not a confession, says that I'm currently living with my baby daddy who I'm engaged to and the girl he cheated on me with.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What's all this bullshit and shenanigans? What's all these shenanigans?
I feel like I need to read that again because I can't be reading what I think I'm reading. No, it does in fact say I'm currently living with my baby daddy who I'm engaged to and the girl he cheated on me with. She's older than me and manipulated our friendship into a threesome agreement.
I'm about to beat this bitch up.
Now she's jealous that I'm pregnant and he wants her to move out. She sabotaged my baby announcement and they want advice. So they said, I know you're gonna roast me, but I love your opinions. So please give me advice on what to do to make her leave. Me personally, I don't think she's the one who should be leaving. I think you are the one who should be leaving. I know you said that you're young, so I feel like I can understand feeling deceived by your friend, but also at the same time, your baby daddy is the one that cheated. That's the one that you had a commitment to. Obviously, it's a little bit different because that's your friend. So she should have also had some loyalty to you. But I think you need to be doing what you can to get out of this situation and do what's best for you and your baby. I don't think that there's a point in trying to get her to move out, because if that man did you dirty, he's going to keep doing you dirty. The fact that you were so young and it sounds like you were tricked and manipulated into this sort of arrangement that both of them were not agreeing to. You were the only one that agreed to it in the end, the only one that followed it. Also, the fact that she's jealous, you're pregnant, lets you know that she's willing to kind of do whatever. And that's someone who you should be very, very afraid of, very wary of. I think you need to just get away from her and do what you can to distance yourself from her and that entire mess of a situation. The fact that she already sabotaged your baby announcement lets you know that she doesn't really give a fuck about you, and you don't know the extent to which she's going to go to potentially make you miserable, to potentially harm you and your child. And this baby daddy sounds like a piece of shit, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I feel like do what you can to get away from them rather than trying to force her to get away from you. I hope you don't feel roasted. I wish you all the best, and I hope that everything goes smoothly throughout the rest of your pregnancy and your baby daddy stops being a piece of shit. Okay, this next one says, when I was 15, I pooped on my friend's bed after she was talking shit about me.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What did I just read? Would you like advice surrounding this situation? And they said yes. I don't have any advice. Maybe just don't be friends with people who you feel the need to shit on their beds.
The pressure is getting worse.
I don't even know what to say. They definitely got their revenge, you know? Like, you did your big one with that. I feel like this is the type of petty that I admire, but personally could never do myself. But yeah, maybe just don't be friends with this person. Also, I feel like I need the rest of the story. Okay, so you pooped on their bed, and then what? What happened after that? Did you accept responsibility? Did you leave? What's tea? I need the rest of the story, so you better come back in the next confessions video with everything in depth, because what the hell? What the actual hell? I just know if I'm ever mad at somebody, I'm calling you. I'm calling you to deal with it. Said, love your videos. Thank you so much. I love your pettiness. Our next one says that I knew my good for nothing ass ex was cheating or was with someone else. Later found out to be his baby mother on his birthday and fucked up his brand new Camaro.
A girl.
I ripped the drop top with a knife, poured paint thinner all over it, and threw spark plugs at his window in the middle of the night. Oh my God. He texted me the next morning asking if I did it, but I gaslit him and asked him how many people he was also messing with for his car to be destroyed if I in fact didn't do it. Oh, I love a good revenge story. It's very much giving Jasmine Sullivan, bust the windows. I don't care about that part. Period. They don't want advice on the situation, and when asked, is there anything else you'd like to say? They said, nope, relationship is long gone and I'll never do any of the things I've done in that relationship because of that relationship ever again. Period. We love a baddie who gets her revenge, moves on, and knows her worth. I love that for you. Thank you for your confession. And I love when a man gets what he deserves. It's just something so satisfying about it to me. Okay, our next confession says, I was talking to this guy who really liked me and I didn't like him at all, but I had him come over to build my furniture for my new apartment and leave. Would you like advice regarding the situation? Yes. No advice, no notes. Oh my God. In all seriousness though, I would just recommend being careful, being safe, because this could have ended badly, and obviously it would not have been your fault. I just feel like as a single young lady, there are certain precautions that we need to take to protect ourselves. Inviting a man that you don't really like, and I don't know if you really know him that well, again, you didn't really say, it was just the one sentence. I would just recommend being a little bit more careful, because I feel like this could have been the beginning of a Criminal Minds episode, of a true crime documentary, a Law and Order SVU episode. So just be careful. But however, I don't think there's anything wrong with a man or with anybody coming over and helping you build something, regardless of how you feel about them or how they feel about you. If they want to help you, they can help you. Just be a little bit more careful next time, bestie. Is there anything else you'd like to say? You're my favorite YouTuber. Thank you so much. Thank you. I feel like I'm still wrapping my brain around the fact that people feel this way. Because to me, I'm just like a regular, schmegular girly. And the This weekend, actually, when I was out at the mall, I ran into a bestie. And it was so cool. And she was so sweet. If you guys ever see me in public, you can come approach nicely and say hi, have a conversation. That's cool. It's just being like, oh, you're a YouTuber now. Will I ever feel like one? That's the real question. But let's get into the next confession. So our next confession is not a confession and they're not seeking advice. They just said, can we get married? Please. And they said they don't want advice. So my answer is no.
I mean, this cannot be real right now.
And because you said you don't want advice, I can't tell you how to improve.
I said what I said.
But the answer is no. So this next confession, they said that my dad threw me out of his car, so I sold it on Facebook Marketplace. Period. I love that for you. They don't want advice and they said they have nothing else to say. So thank you for the confession. I wish you all the best and I wish your dad the worst. Okay, so in this next confession, they said, so I was in a relationship for about 3.5 years, and after the first year, she got really mentally abusive. I'm so sorry you had to experience that. Now for context, I have autism. She would use that fact against me because it's very hard for me to know if someone's joking or being sincere, and she'd use that to her advantage, which is fucked up. There was one day in particular where she was mad at me, but wouldn't tell me why. Then out of nowhere, she called me an autistic little bitch, and from that point on,
Oh, Lord.
I would take her car at night and have sex with other girls in the back seat until we broke up. I think she still has that car and drives it around to this day. I don't care if any of this is in the video. I love the content. They don't want advice. And they said, I do not feel bad about what she did. She crossed the line, bringing up my autism, and now my stains are embedded in the back seat.
Not my problem.
Diabolical. Diabolical. What the hell? First of all, girlfriend's fucked up for doing that to you. I feel like it's crazy to obviously be emotionally and mentally abusive in any circumstance, but this is just like the next level. And while I usually do not condone cheating, I feel like this was just revenge. Thank you for submitting your crazy ass confession. Y'all are fucking wild. I don't know what I was expecting when I said I was going to do this video and put out the link, but it wasn't this. For sure it wasn't this. Okay, so this next confession says, started dating my boyfriend 7 months ago, shortly after getting out of a very toxic relationship.
You don't find that suspicious?
He has also been my best friend for over a decade. Best friend to lovers trope. We love to see it, but also a little bit skeptical that you got into this relationship very quickly after getting out of your last toxic relationship. Hopefully it all works out for you. Be careful. She said, in the time that me and him have been together, he's put in 2 applications. I'm assuming you mean job applications towards the beginning of the relationship, and has continued to live off of his mom. So he's a deadbeat boyfriend. That's what you're telling me.
Tomato, tomato, tomato.
Not only that, but because of his lack of motivation and seeming interest, I've started to catch feelings for one of his friends that I barely talk to. Would you like advice? They said yes. It's giving limerence. It's giving that your current relationship, you're very unhappy, you do not like your current partner, so you're looking to the closest thing that you might have access to that might give you that satisfaction.
Today, Junior.
That might fulfill all of your needs and your desires. So you're fiending after that, even though you said you barely talk to them. I personally think you need to get out of this relationship. I understand that he's been a good friend, a best friend for over a decade. It doesn't matter if he's been your best friend for over a decade. He doesn't have any motivation. He seems comfortable living off of his mom, which does not mean that he will eventually see you as an equal partner. Is there anything else you'd like to say? She says that I hate that I'm so down bad for his friend, but that man is fine as fuck and really sweet once you get past all the prickly bits. So this, in my mind, is letting me know that his friend might not even necessarily be a good person.
It just wasn't gonna work, babe. Just wasn't gonna work.
Yeah, I think you need to be single for a little while, and I mean this with the utmost respect and love because I care about you deeply. I think you need to be single. You don't need to be focusing on relationships. You need to focus on yourself, because if there's a pattern of you going for men who aren't good, in my mind, it just indicates that you have a type. There's a cycle that needs to be broken here, and you need to do some serious inner work before you can get into that fulfilling relationship that you are looking for. You need to have a fulfilling relationship with yourself first and foremost. I wish you all the best, and I hope you break up with this man who sounds like a deadbeat. So our next bestie is also looking for some advice, and she says that my boyfriend, who's a decade older than me, left his fiance, girlfriend of 10 years for me.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Let me ask the audience.
And you're 21, so he's 31. And he left the person that he was with from 21 to 31 for you.
I almost threw up in my mouth.
I don't know what the rest of this says, but my advice is already break up with him. Break up with him.
Please leave and find better.
Because I'm 24, about to be 25 later this year. I cannot see myself dating anybody who's a couple years younger than me. I don't see what we would even have in common. I can't imagine being 31 and pursuing a relationship with a 21-year-old and being like, it's good and fine and dandy. That's weird. I don't like that. And it gets worse. However, he still watches her dog on random weekends. And she gives a further explanation and says that he was my neighbor and we've now been dating for 2 years. So he was 29 and got with you when you were 19? Run. As fast as you can, run. They were engaged and unhappy and I was the nail in the coffin. It sounds like he's just a piece of shit if you want me to be honest with you. I don't think you were the nail in the coffin. Very much sounds like he wanted to secure a young, beautiful girl before getting rid of the old girl that he was sick and tired of, instead of being man enough to end that relationship and then pursue you, because that's the respect that you deserve. You don't deserve to be the rebound. She has an old dog he basically took all the responsibility for until she moved out. But even today, he still wants to watch the dog on random weekends. I strongly feel like this is inappropriate and have explicitly expressed my thoughts to him, like, why are we treating a dog like a kid? Valid question. If you feel that it's inappropriate, that should be the end of it, regardless of how he feels, in my opinion, in this situation, considering the context and the circumstances. I already think you should break up with him, but now I really think you should break up with him.
Don't ask me for advice for your relationship. I'm gonna tell you to break up and go find somebody else.
He said it's actually his dog too, and he just wants to spend his final moments with the dog before it dies of old age. I told him it's hard to care when it involves him keeping in contact with his alcoholic ex.
Lord have mercy.
And at least the ex needs a better schedule. What? He agrees with the schedule portion, but that he generally shouldn't be reaching out to his ex, but argues she texts me, yet simply ignoring her is too mean and blocking her is too spiteful. No, I disagree. I'm very much on your side here, friend. I want the best for you, and this man sounds like a gaslighting piece of If there's someone that my partner is in contact with, or say they're even just mutuals on a social media platform, and that alone is making me uncomfortable, and I express that it's making them uncomfortable, and they give me reason after excuse after reason after excuse why it's okay, I'm done. I shouldn't have to explain more than once that something makes me uncomfortable, it hurts my feelings, it makes me feel insecure. It feels inherently inappropriate for them to get the message and act accordingly. You shouldn't have to tell them exactly what to do for them to understand, hey, the person that I love doesn't like this. They're not cool with this. So out of love and care and respect for them, I'm going to not do it, because I would hate to do anything that makes them uncomfortable or makes them feel bad or insecure in our relationship. I think it's weird to stay in contact with an ex, but in this situation, if it is about the dog, then there should be a schedule where he has the dog on these weekends, picks it up, drops it off, and there's nothing else to it. He thinks I'm being cruel and overreacting. He continues to bring the dog over and it's disintegrating all my love and trust. Am I being insensitive, or am I boo-boo the fool for trusting him? I honestly don't think that you're boo-boo the fool. I wouldn't say that to you. I think that you were young and you got in a relationship with this much older man who was your neighbor. So then it's like, how long did he just know you and was creeping on you? I don't know. It's weird. I don't think you're boo-boo the fool, but I do think you need to end the relationship. I think it needs to be over and done with and dusted. I don't think that this is somebody who you need to be with long term. I don't think that this relationship is conducive to you becoming the best version of yourself. I don't think that. I think that he's shown over and over that he lacks integrity and he doesn't care for you as much as he's trying to act like he cares for you. So I think you need to do what is best for you. And you already said what his actions are disintegrating all of your love and trust. That should be it. That should be it. I understand that sometimes there's things you need to work through in relationships, but this is not one of those things. It definitely isn't. And I wish you all the best. I hope that this advice was somewhat helpful. I don't think you're boo-boo the fool. I think he's boo-boo the fool, and you need to move on and live your life instead of being with a man who clearly doesn't care about you in the way that a man should care about you. Hey besties, and we're about to end this video on a high note with a very warm and lighthearted confession.
Finally!
This bestie says that he has been with his girlfriend for 3 years. We moved to a new city together this past year. It has been such a grand thing. I love her very much. This, oh, it's so sweet already. And I'm ready to propose to her. Ooh, that's exciting, that's exciting. I took her ring shopping like a year and a half ago and purchased the ring she liked the most like 2 weeks later. When a man knows, he knows, and I love that. I've been sitting on it for a while now, long enough for her to forget we went shopping for it. But I wanted to pay off the ring first and then propose smart. It'll be paid off next month and I plan on proposing before the year is out. Oh my God. Oh, we need updates. We're gonna need pictures. We're gonna need the whole 9 yards, the whole shebang.
Receipts, proof, timeline.
Okay, I'm invested in your love story. This confession is for those who feel like love is dead or walk around with such dooming feelings about love. I pray you all find love, care, gentleness, and kindness within a partner as well as yourselves. They don't want advice, doesn't sound like they need advice. They're ready to propose this to this girl like tomorrow. And when asked, is there anything else you'd like to say? Thank you for the dope content. I've been loving the catfish content. Also, your laugh is adorable. Thank you so much. I wish you and your future partner the absolute best. And bestie, for real, we need an update when you propose. How you decided to do it, what was her reaction, how did everything go, and describe the ring. I feel like I need to get a visual of what this thing looks like. But thank you so very much for submitting that very sweet confession. And yeah, I too agree with you. I hope everybody finds love within themselves first, and then they're able to find it within other people. I want to thank every single person who submitted a confession or something that they needed to get advice on. I hope that this was helpful. If you liked the video, then obviously like the video, comment, subscribe, share, all those things. And I'll keep doing them because I have about 400 confessions to get through. But if you want to submit your confession or you want advice, you can find that link down in the description below. Again, thank you so very much, besties. And the next video after this will actually be my 100th public video on this channel. And just know it's about to be a good one. Thank you so much, besties. And I'll see you in the next video, the 100th video. Ooh, I can't wait.